Right, so if you're coming here, you generally have a problem with your lead generation and you have to fix it. And there are only three ways why you have no B2B leads, and each way has its own distinct solution, although they are the same in some way. So fundamentals to understand, there are likely three reasons why you are here, even though all of them cause the same results. And in order to solve the problem you are having, you must have these fundamentals. And so there are probably three reasons why you're not getting any client results, or you're not even getting any clients in the first place. You're just focused on getting clients through inbound and referrals, which, as you know, tends to dry up over time. It's not very reliable. You should not be running your business solely on those things. Over time, it starts to dry out. Even I think most cases you see it start to dry out over the summer. So you should always have like a back-end engine that is constantly bringing you new business. Very important. So number one reason tends to be not enough volume. This is usually the most common reason why you're not getting new customers in the door. The simple solution is to just do more of what was already working for you. So in most cases, that will be cold outreach. In essence, putting your business in front of more people who do not know you in any way. So that is usually how people get in touch with other people who are trying to do business. If you put your business or your offer in front of 1 billion people, you're sure to get extra business, which is how your business should be run in the first place. For beginners, this is hands down the way you start. I think everybody starts like this. If you're not aware of this, then you most likely have started your business from referrals and kept on depending on that. But over time, you start to see that does not really work. You should always do this in parallel with creating content like I am now. Like you see, this is a YT video explaining how you solve this problem. Creating content about your prospects' pain point. Take me, for example. Why did you click on this video if you're not subconsciously thinking about solving your current lead gen problem? So this is an intrinsic problem that every business typically tends to have, and they usually fall down these three rabbit holes. If for some reason you have never done cold outreach before, which I would be surprised if you've never tried that, and relied on referrals, like I've said, the most cost-effective and high-yielding channel is to start via cold email. This is where you send emails, unsolicited emails that you have not, sending emails to people who you've never met before. The assumption is that they would click on your emails and then take up interest in what you have to offer them. Typical industry benchmarks when you're sending cold email, open rates from 45 to 60% is generally very good. We tend to see a 70% open rate on average, but down the line, open rates usually don't mean much when you are starting out, because a lot of factors tend to play into it. A more realistic or a more pragmatic metric you should use when you're tracking the efficacy of your emails is your reply rates. Reply rates tend to be 1 to 3% for regular campaigns. I think this here is kind of an exaggeration. It's really not 8 to 12, unless you're running. There's really not 8 to 12. 8 to 12 is really a lot for reply rates. You're not going to be hitting those reply rates, very unlikely. Standard reply rates are 1 to 3%, unless you're running micro hyper targeted lists where you have all your filters on and you know exactly who you're reaching out to, like a mini ABM campaign where you're picking people you want to target and then you go after them for a certain period of time. It's probably a good idea for me to talk more about this in depth. So if you would be interested in that, let me know down below what you would like to see moving forward. Number two, you do not know your customer. In most cases in the B2B market, you will have the impression that you know who your customers are, but you do not. I've learned this most especially when I am creating a product. This is a principle that you must never forget when you're in business with other businesses. This will help you save millions in hours spent, no, millions in revenue spent and thousands of hours of your time, as well as headaches. When a company or business buys from you, they do so to make more money than they have paid you to serve them or help them or work with them. That is the fundamental premise of anybody paying you money. Someone pays you for a service, they in return expect to get more than they paid you. It's just how it works. If you're not doing that, then it makes no economical sense for them to pay you in the first place. So this is a fundamental premise. No matter how good you think your product is, if it does not satisfy this particular condition, then you probably have a bad product, or you probably don't have a good market, or you don't have PMF, product market fit. Please do not ever conflate the principles of operating a B2B business with a B2C. Yes, they're in the same way, similar, but the mode of transaction of value is vastly different. For B2C, the customer could see value in very basic things. For example, Netflix. Netflix is primarily a B2C business where I'm paying money for entertainment. In the B2B, it's not like that. B2B is purely transactional. I'm sure you're already aware of this, where if I pay you money, I in turn expect to make more than I paid you in terms of money. Or it could be money, or it could be time. So you're either the customer is either making more money or they are spending less time. But ideally, you want to make them more money because that seems to have a higher return. There's more leverage when you are doing that. It's always a good idea to take a step back and use a fair bit of analogical thinking here. This is comparing your current state with something similar. Let's say a chicken with a turkey, or problems that have similar variables in it where you can extract and extrapolate details from to solve that problem. So you might want to ask yourself a few questions based on the available evidence. Who is most likely to purchase this product and why? What are the common circumstances? What are the common circumstances that surround and or influence their decision-making process? Do I know the goals of my customer? Most of you do not. A lot of you do not know the goals of the customer, which is why when you are setting up your offer, you tend to make mistakes, and then you think to yourself, oh, nobody is buying this. I'm in the wrong market. No, you probably are not writing, or you probably don't have an offer that tends to target their problems. For example, if somebody is in the market to lose weight, it would be a good idea to ask why they are trying to do that, because people do things for many different reasons. Somebody could be losing weight so that they could look better for their spouse. Someone else could be losing weight because they are trying to run a marathon and they want to do it in good form. So getting down to the nitty-gritty tends to help a lot when you are doing these things. It tends to make you stand out as well, which is very important. So knowing the goals of your customer is, I would put this as number 1 instead of number 3. But you get my point. The next thing, intrinsic goals are not mere things like generate more revenue. As I've said before, there are deeper reasons why people do things. I have an intrinsic reason why I run the business that I run. You have yours. The person next to you who also runs a business does as well. Although the goal is the same, the motivation behind the goal is different. Getting to that tends to make you stand out more in your offer, in your copy, in your VSL, in things you say. Number 4, what does the logical process of my customer look like to encounter this problem? So in the step-by-step process of how they encounter the problem, so if you know exactly how your customer tends to get into the problem, that's if they're in a problem-aware state, so they know they have the problem, then this is an angle that you can use when you're writing your copy during your code house read, because it tends to help a lot, because it shows that you've done your homework, which a lot of people do not do when they are starting. And number 5, is my customer even aware of this problem? Like I said before, there are different states of your prospects. There's the unaware states, the problem-aware states. Then there's also a state where they are aware they have this problem, but they are not aware of a solution. Then there are others where they are aware of the problem and they are aware of the possible solution. And there are other customers that know that, okay, I have a problem and I'm looking for a solution. So something similar to that. I don't get it exactly right, but the gist of it is there. So there are different states of the customers when you're reaching out to them. The hardest state to reach is where they have a problem, but they're not aware of it. It's your job to then convince them using logical arguments that yes, they have this problem and this is what it would take to solve it, and this is the impact of not solving the problem. Right? A good business is a very selfless act of constantly put if you believe in what you do. Right? A good business is a very selfless act of constantly pushing yourself to think about others. Even though you do profit from it, it is important to know your primary goal is to solve problems. That is kind of what every business intrinsically is. The bigger the problem that you can solve, then the more you will get paid, in theory. So knowing exactly what problem you're solving and why you are the ideal solution to that problem is very important. If you're obsessed with doing this, then not knowing your customer will never be a problem. So if you are doing this, then number 2 should not be a problem. It's most likely number 1 or number 3. Yeah, coming to number 3. Number 3 means you have a bad product. So number 3, the case could be that you have a bad product. Now, I would not like for this to be the case, which is why I'm covering this part last. Because if this happens to be the case, then you might have to go back to the basics. It means you're not doing something right. So now if you're a startup, this is most likely than other industries. So if you're running a startup business in the tech or IT or SaaS space, then this might be more likely to be the case, because you're usually getting into industries that may or may not have PMF. And if you can't achieve that, then there's somebody to sell to. One piece of advice that I would like to share is to avoid anything that comes off as too novel. So if you're looking for revenue quickly, it's better to get into markets that have already been established, as opposed to getting into new markets that you're not too sure of, which will require capital and funding to explore. Just because the chances of market adoption, I wouldn't say drops drastically. I would say it's more invariable, it's more volatile, more unpredictable. There is no data to suggest anything. Everybody is moving on the fly. This is typically why startups tend to either hit or miss. It's more of a hit or miss. You're making bets, big bets on it. So that's kind of the thing. So if you're looking to make a certain level of revenue in a certain level of time, within a certain level of time, it's more advisable to go into markets that have already been established. Every new service offering, every new technology, every new business model comes with risk. This is the fundamental premise of running a business. It should therefore be either based on latent behavior. So whatever service you're offering or provided should either be based on latent behavior. Now, latent behavior comes from the things that humans are intrinsically wired to do. For example, humans are intrinsically wired to look at nice and beautiful things. Like, this is a common fact. This is why Apple does so well, because they tend to that intrinsic desire to like for humans to look at nice things. Like, Apple products are generally known for their good aesthetics. Even though I'm not a big Apple fan, but I still agree with that. Or a close evolution to an already existing product or service. A good, for example, ChatGPT is simply an extension of Google. It's a product that solves a latent need of not wanting to be stupid or uninformed. Nobody wants to get into a room. As much as somebody would say, "Oh, I don't want to be the smartest in the room." Usually it's a lie. I think people get a knack of being the smartest in the room. It's just how it is. Going into a room where you are the dumbest there is typically not the ideal scenario for any human being. Nobody wants to walk into a place and feel stupid all the time. Nobody wants to not know what is going on when people are talking about things. It's just how it is. So Google solves this problem. If you don't know what's going on, or you've never heard the word before, just Google it or use ChatGPT. NVIDIA, the technology company that makes GPUs for data centers and PCs, it's simply an extension of Intel, a product that creates GPUs and CPUs so when the latest need access to more power to do more things faster. It's simply the case. Now, there are more simplified versions of this, but I'm just speaking in terms of what I know. If you get the gist of it, then you will make more examples yourself. Okay, so just doing a quick recap because I wanted to make this extremely short and to the point. You're probably not making money or revenue because of these three things. You're not making enough content or doing enough outreach, which is most likely the case. You do not understand your customer, which is okay. Not knowing your customer is the most likely reason. Then the reason that supplements that is not doing enough outreach, because with enough volume, you would probably know what your customers would want at that point. So the next steps to take, if you still happen to be unsure what category you are, like if after this video you don't know where you stand, I created a free short quiz that will immediately tell you what your priority should be. So where you are and what problem you're having. Then I will send a personalized doc on what exactly you should do based on your current problem and where you are right now. I just started making this. So if there's any video in particular you'd like to see, like, you can let me down below. I'm really open to suggestions and comments. You can also access the doc in the comments if you want to read this through. God bless you. Goodbye.